Have you ever been at an airport, looked at the screens, and seen a flight so short you thought to yourself, there's gotta be a train on that route? You know what? Usually there is, or if not a train, a bus. Every day in the United States, small regional jets traveling short distances take up thousands of slots at airports across the country. People take these flights, and airlines offer them, because people usually use them to get to a longer haul flight. But if more people took the train or the bus on these short connector routes, it would be better for passengers, for airlines, for airports, and the environment. So why don't more people take these? Let's be real. Who wants to sit down, have a million tabs open, and spend hours looking for every option to every airport in your region? No, you just put in where you are and where you want to go, and you pick what shows up. One man recognized this problem and came up with a solution. Today, I want to introduce you to data analyst, transport innovator, and my friend, Caleb Neal.
Hey there everyone, my name is Caleb Neal. I am the founder of AeroLink Systems, a multimodal connectivity platform. I am standing here in Washington Union Station to tell you today about a problem that we're having in our national transportation system. Currently, people in the United States primarily rely on air travel for long distance or regional transportation. If you're not driving across the country, you're probably going to be on an airplane. Why is that a problem though? Well, airlines are looking to cut costs. Regional jets, the little tiny airplanes that really nobody likes to be on because they're very small and uncomfortable, are extremely expensive on a per seat basis, right? So a lot of small towns around the United States are losing air service because airlines are cutting those routes. In addition, those routes are very polluting. Going from, say, St. Louis, Missouri to Chicago, Illinois on an airplane emits a lot of carbon, way more than you would on a train. And it costs the airline a lot of money. Airlines are often subsidizing losses on regional flight routes. Those routes don't always make money for the airline, but the plane that you're getting on after that normally does. Luckily, there is a far better option to regional jets for local connectivity within the air travel transportation system, and that is, you guessed it, trains. And then sometimes buses, where a train doesn't make sense. There are better ways to connect people regionally within the United States that don't rely on polluting regional jets. And that is what we, AeroLink, are devoted to doing. Connecting people, both in cities and in rural areas, with non-stop flights to areas they want to go. Not using air-to-air connections, but using a variety of multimodal options to include trains and buses.
A fascinating proposal. I wanted to learn more, and the best place to learn about how ground and air transportation intersect is to go to a train station near the airport. So right now we're at Crystal City Station in Virginia, and while the station is pretty simple today, in the future it'll be a much bigger station, hopefully with a direct connection to the terminal at National Airport. Now Caleb, how is that going to improve things when you're trying to connect from the train to the plane?
So actually, if you can look down the track a little bit, we see this S-curve right here. On the other side of that S-curve, they are planning on building a center train platform for the passenger trains. That's Virginia Rail Express, MARC, and Amtrak, specifically that serves the airport with the pedestrian bridge. That is going to really make it a lot easier for folks from all over the Northeast region. So if you live in Philadelphia, but you find a great deal on a flight out of National here, or Baltimore, I guess, you can come directly here and get off at that platform and then easily transfer to the airport. It also opens up the opportunity for people who live in smaller towns along the Northeast Corridor. They can get down here to Reagan National and access flights really easily. It makes that multimodal connection much easier and enhances the passenger experience. And that's really what it's all about and what AeroLink is trying to do to connect folks regionally to better air service, eliminating unnecessary short-haul flight connections and replacing them with much more eco-friendly trains.
In that scenario, say that I was living in Aberdeen, Maryland, and I want to fly out of National. How would that work on AeroLink? What would I do?
So yeah, if you're living in Aberdeen, you can actually just type a street address in. And you can type your destination address in, and you can hit search, and it'll search flights from all over the region, and it will find connection opportunities. So it'll find trains and buses that also serve those airports. And if it doesn't find a train or a bus, it'll indicate that, and it'll say like you can also take a taxi or rideshare as a last option. But it will find those opportunities for you to take those connections. Very easy to go on the website, search, put in street addresses, hit enter, and you'll be presented with hundreds of opportunities.
So I don't even have to know what airport I want to fly out of in advance. I can just enter my start and my destination, and it'll show me the best airport?
That is correct. You can just enter your address, and then it'll find airports all around your region that have flights, both non-stop and flights with stops, and it'll find the transportation opportunities to get you there.
I know in this example we were talking about a future airport station. I think it's important to clarify that AeroLink is up and running and it works for existing airports. You can find connections through Baltimore or Philadelphia, Newark, Milwaukee, Oakland. So you're the creator of AeroLink Systems. What inspired you to start that?
So this idea of air-to-rail connectivity is actually not a new idea. People in Europe have been doing this for ages. Actually, Lufthansa, just a few years ago, announced that they have multimodal connections on Deutsche Bahn. So you can fly into Frankfurt Airport and get on a train from Frankfurt, or take a train from somewhere in Germany into Frankfurt. Other countries have implemented this. For a brief period of time, United Airlines actually offered multimodal connectivity on Acela, but they discontinued that during the pandemic for reasons unknown. So this isn't a new idea at all. I actually did a project with the High Speed Rail Alliance and multimodal connections at Chicago O'Hare Airport, right? Trying to get the Chicago O'Hare Airport to have regional train service. And when doing that study, I figured out how much demand there actually is for this multimodal type of transportation, how much potential there is for it, and how many existing places you can actually connect multimodally relatively easily. So I figured, all right, we have the data, we have the infrastructure in some areas, and why not build a platform to show people these opportunities? And that's exactly what I've done. So I built a platform, it pulls the data in. These are not inline connections. These are not code share agreements by any means. It is a self-connect, but it gives you all the time deconflictions. It tells you all the transportation options. So yeah, it takes the data in, and hopefully my objective is to partner with transportation agencies to feed them data so they can make their operations integrate better together to produce a truly national transportation network, not just an air transportation network and a rail transportation network. They really should be complementary, right? With rail serving short routes that are too short for airplanes, and the airplanes serving long-haul routes.
So if you are a transportation provider or happen to know one, you can reach out to Caleb directly and partner with AeroLink Systems. Contact information is provided in the description below. So multimodal travel is better for everyone: passengers, planet, and companies. So how could AeroLink Systems make an airport like DCA better?
Better flight service to areas further away, right? Taking some of these regional jets to close-in destinations along the Northeast Corridor and in the local region, and hopefully showing people that there are bus options and train options that can take them there instead of the airplane, and bringing people from around the region into DCA Airport to make that multimodal connection onto an airplane to go to somewhere further away that can be served with a larger aircraft, right? I was actually just talking to Tom about this. These regional jets are not renowned for being the most comfortable aircraft, so it's entirely possible that we can see these regional jets being phased into larger aircraft that go to places further away. Larger aircraft that are more comfortable, that cost less for passengers and airlines, and a more comfortable journey overall on both the train and the airplane.
But how does it work? How does Caleb do it?
Basically what we do is we take publicly accessible data from ground transportation providers. We take that, and then we take airline data, and we look at scheduled departure arrival times. So we merge transportation data and we deconflict the schedules and the stops, right? So we make sure our passengers have enough time to make their connections, whether they're coming off of an airplane and going to a train, or coming off of a train and going to an airplane. And then we also take into account any distance you may have to traverse between the airplane and the train, so we make sure you have enough time to make that connection as well. has been in the works for about 2 years. So a lot of it's been research and learning. As I mentioned previously, this started with a high-speed rail alliance project that kind of ballooned into this giant effort. But a lot of it was research and figuring out how to get the data. This has not been an easy process, but it has been a very rewarding process for me, and I really want to share that with everybody to make everybody's lives easier.
What a noble goal.
So what's next? How can transportation providers get involved?
If you operate transportation, mass transportation of any kind, an airport shuttle, a train, if you are with Amtrak, MARC, SEPTA, Metra, any of those transit agencies, or even if you operate a single shuttle to and from a small regional airport in a very rural area, we AeroLink want to partner with you to help make your connectivity better. We can provide data, we can provide analysis, and we can list you in our system so passengers can find you as a component in a multimodal itinerary. We are truly trying to build a national transportation system, not just air and rail and bus. We're trying to bring everything together so people can have truly connected transportation experiences instead of having to try and figure it all out themselves.
They can just go to AeroLink.
So our website, I love our domain name, goaerolink.io. And then my contact information is on there as well. If you have any feedback, recommendations, or if you would like to work with us.
Caleb, thank you so much for coming to DC today. You've got a great idea, and we're going to continue working together.
Thank you very much, Tom, for having me. It's been a pleasure getting to meet you. It's been a pleasure to meet all your viewers and speak to them. Thank you so much.
I do have some very great viewers, but
You do. Thank you very much,
have a good
Tom.
trip.
Thank you.
For your next travels, give AeroLink a try. Who knows, you might find an amazing deal. It may be a memorable trip. Let's get the word out about AeroLink today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome, and we'll see you next time.
Why is that a problem? One of the ways that, I'll let the airplane pass here. One of the ways that AeroLink Systems, so airlines end up subsidizing losses. It went blank. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry. How can transportation providers get involved?